your destiny. On the big screen for me, that's a show I like to see. I can be a groupie, see, if you just play for me. I watch you on the TV screen. Come on, let me make you famous, 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 famous.
I'm sitting here with the group of 112. You guys want to greet the people? Greet the people really quickly.
What's going on, world? I am Q Parker.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Keith.
What's up, y'all? So, this is Duran. What's happening?
And we are...
So we are back for the second half. Like I said, this One12 takeover. They've been here chilling with us for the past hour. We've had a chance to listen to their upcoming album. We have a live audience here that's been able to kind of listen and hear some of the upcoming music. But now we want to have a conversation with Q, Mike, Slim, and Duran.
Yes.
Just about what's been going on for the past 21 years. We were just listening to Only You, and I thought, it's interesting that earlier we were talking about how R&B has a real hip-hop feel now. People don't really remember R&B, but to me, you guys were the first ones that really, did an amazing job. Only You was a mixture. It really was true R&B and hip-hop mix.
Yeah.
It was the best in the hip-hop, the best in R&B. The song felt good. You got both textures, you know what I mean? And it was just an amazing song. So that's how you guys were introduced.
Yes.
So do you think that is what you guys have kind of stayed true to, that set a tone for 112?
Absolutely. When you think about the definition of 112, it's hip-hop and R&B with a little gospel undertone. And big shout out to Sean Puffy Combs, first of all, for believing in us, four boys from the inner cities of Atlanta. We wear that proudly on our chest everywhere we go, abroad, internationally, the fact that we're from Atlanta. So thank you to everybody, the whole Bad Boy. But one of the things that Puff brought to the group was his hip-hop ear. Because originally all we wanted to do was have Duran behind the piano and we just sing ballads to some girls, basically. And when we went up to New York, Puff was like, no, if I can't play it in the club, we're not doing it. And that was a shock to us because we didn't really know about this hip-hop stuff. But I'm so glad that we embraced it because at a time when hip-hop really just took over, those R&B artists that could not do both, they drowned.
Right.
And that was like the definition of what 112 was established then. We had the greatest rapper of all time introduce us in the Notorious B.I.G. So we had to continue with it. And if you think about all of the singles that we released, they always had this hip-hop edge to them, which Puffy was so great at doing that.
Right.
But the component that he loved about 112 is that we were just four melodic R&B singers. So it was a perfect marriage where he brought to the table from his hip-hop ear, but what we just brought to the table from our innate ability to just want to sing ballads and just the melodic talent that we had. And it was a perfect marriage, and it is what has sustained 112 for 21 years.
Right. Well, it's interesting that you brought up, Bad Boy, because that was such a big part of the 90s. Not just the music, but the lifestyle. You guys were a part of that whole lifestyle of, partying and, I remember when I thought Club 112, I was like, is that after the group 112? Because it just made sense. It just made sense, right? You did the 112 takeover, right? But how was that, for your introduction? Because very few groups are introduced on that large, scale. Like Bad Boy was at its height at that time, and it was all about, the music, but just the like I said, the lifestyle and what it was doing to what Bad Boy did for the culture at that time.
Right. It was really just the craziest experience in a good way for 112 because, like you said, you had four country bumpkins from Atlanta who had never been on a plane up until we had gotten signed to Bad Boy. So our experiences with hip hop and just that whole culture and lifestyle was something that it just blew our minds. But Puff, knowing that he gradually introduced it to us, and Faith being who she was and being our big sister and guiding us through that whole music thing, because it was really something surreal to us. It really was just to be in that whole era and just being part of history like that. Like, I don't think we really understood this how big it was at the time. Looking back on it now, of course, we go back and we were a part of an era that will never be duplicated, and 112 was a major part of that. We were one of the big five that that started Bad Boy, and we take pride in the fact that this generationally music has grown, and it was because of our influence. It's especially with music. With the R&B side of it. So it was crazy. We had our ups and of course we had our down times when we lost, Big and the whole nine, but it drew us closer as a unit, as a family, with the record label, and it made 112 realize that, although, we do have life, it is fleeting. And we better take advantage of this while we can, and that's the reason why we put so much heart and soul into what it is that we do, which is these albums. So that's in a nutshell what we do it.
Well, kudos to you. I don't think fans realize that you guys seem to fit. We were introduced to you. Look like you guys have been hanging out with Diddy the whole time. It just made sense. So how did 112 come together?
Well, 112, we pretty much grew up together. We were like in a mile radius of each other. Like snapped up over there. We're from Cleveland Avenue. Everybody knows
Zone 3.
Zone 3, walked out of George High School. So basically, we went to the same elementary, middle school, definitely, and we pretty much started doing talent shows. When we got into high school, we started doing talent shows. And, one by one, we were like, wait a minute. And people started coming to us and saying, no, this is not normal, right? You might want to take this a little bit more serious, So we started, we kept going over Mike's grandma, going to Duran's Pearl, and practicing, we didn't know anything but what Take Six a commission.
Take Six a commission.
And from there, we started experimenting, What's the Man came out, and Jersey came out, and I even intro,
We actually was touring. We actually were doing talent shows with Silk.
And then they actually got the deal, and then
they got the deal, and we were like, damn it,
One group couldn't. But we just went from there,
Now, besides, because I would never thought Take Six and Commission. Take Six, yes, Commission, that's definitely different than we would have thought you guys were listening to. Out of those groups that you named and even other groups, who were you guys looking up to that kind of helped mentor you or may have shaped kind of what you guys started doing?
Well, I call people distant mentors. We look up to, especially as we was kids that we had not yet had a chance to meet. So I'm going to say definitely Take Six, definitely Commission, Boys and Men. Then I started listening to Jodeci and just, like you said, Silk, intro. But I'll say part of the group that we listen to the most was Take Six. We used to sing that song the most in a lot of the talent shows. And then, it got to a point where we ran so many talent shows that, they wouldn't let us compete anymore. Like, we had to come and be special guests at the talent show for that much. So, it was a lot of things that I know a lot of people don't expect it, but, we were raised in the church, we grew up in the church, we started singing first in the church, and then, that's kind of how you still hear the soulful sound, that's really from the church, that harmony and those riffs and rhymes and that passion, that's from that beginning in the church.
So, church meets Bad Boy. How was that experience? Was there anyone in that camp that kind of took you guys under their wing? Because you guys you were part of that big five, but yet you were still kind of like the younger ones that were brought on board. So how was that experience?
We were definitely the new kids on the block, no pun intended, but from day one, everybody just embraced us. Mike mentioned earlier about faith being our sister in every sense of the word. I'm talking about cooking for us when we didn't have any money, taking us to church, coming to pick us up. So you talk about 4 guys trying to squeeze in the back of her Range Rover at the time. Big, making sure we had money in our pocket. You hear the term starving artists all the time, right? So there was a time where we had gotten our advance and that was already gone. So that was just done. And we were just living off of our per diem, $2.45 a week, right? So by the time we go buy groceries for the house, go down to the village and buy some sneakers or whatever, we are And then we get it on Thursday. By Saturday, we all looking like, how much you got? How much you got left? You got some more? How much? So
we gonna find some girls and flirt with them and stuff so they can feed us and stuff for the week and stuff like. No, we did that for real.
No, I believe you. I believe
So every time we go to the studio, Big would be like, yo, y'all good? He would give us money, make sure we had food. He would make, order whatever y'all want. And it has always been a family vibe. So it's just not about what you see, the Bad Boy family. Like, it was really, really, really a family. And us being like the little brothers, everybody made sure that we had what we needed and were accommodated.
That's dope. And so now I know that you guys actually have one of your Bad Boy, at least one of the members on your new project, correct? Who's featured from Bad Boy on the new project?
Well, here's to give y'all a little backstory. Like, one of the things that a lot of the fans, and not saying you guys aren't fans, I'm sorry. Let me start over. 3, 2, 1. Scene. There you go. All right. So a lot of the fans would reach out to us and say, "Hey, are you guys going to do any interludes?" Because that's one of the key components that 112 has that a lot of people don't do is the interludes, and so we wanted to make sure that we put some interludes on this album to remind people that was a component that was really special. And one of the collaborations that people always wanted to see again was us and Faith. And this is funny. We did a show in New Jersey about 3 months ago or something. And if y'all don't know Faith, she's real beautiful, can sing her tail off or whatever, but Faith got a little hood in her. Right. So when she seen it after we performed for her, we did a concert for her and we performed, we were getting ready to leave and she called us right before she said, "Yo, 112. If I don't get on this record, B, it's gonna be a problem, son." This is Faith, so we were like, okay, this is crazy. But at the same time, we understood that this is something special. This album is about to be something really special. So we want to make sure that we cross all the T's and dot every I, and just make sure that, if Faith does not get on this record, there is going to be a problem, B. You know what I mean? Like she put us in a corner and just really, manned up on us. But it was that big sister love, but we understood what it was. And like, she understood that this is think about this for a minute. 112 hadn't put out any music for like 12 years. 12 years. So this is either going to be the best thing that ever happened, or we ain't going to say the other part, because we know this is going to be the best thing that ever happened. But she wanted to be a part of that, because this is history. This is history in the making. And, it did a full circle. It's coming back around. So having our sister on this album and with us on this record, it was just amazing. She sounds incredible. She sounds like she did back when, when Bad Boy was at our height, and we had to just bring it because she was bringing it too, and because obviously there was going to be a problem had she not, But we're so appreciative, and the crazy thing was we had so many artists at Bad Boy that wanted to be on this album, and it was a little like the Locks wanted to be on, Carl wanted to be on, but it was like at that point it was like, it was too late, but right. but we definitely want to do something. Yeah, it is. It is.
Did you guys do the Bad Boy reunion tour?
Yeah.
What was that experience like? I went to a show and it was amazing, and it's weird because you said 112 hadn't put out music in 12 years, but it didn't feel like that when you hear the music. The music still feels like you go to the club and it's popping today. So, what was that experience like? Kind of reliving that. And I know how the audience was because I was a part of the audience, but you could tell the music is still very relevant. It still, matters today. What was that like for you?
Oh, man, it was amazing. I think if you went to the show, you could really feel the energy. And I think from everybody's standpoint, it was like one big pop. So from the time the music first came on, and you saw Puff come out of those rappers, and all the explosion, everybody from the crowd to everybody, even in the back of the stage, we were standing up from the time it first started to the time everything ended. And that's pretty much what we wanted to do when it came across. And it just felt like history. It's one of those situations where somebody said, you do it like it's your last day. Well, we performed like it was our last day, and it felt like everybody was just giving it to us everywhere we went, like it was our last performance we ever seen. So was absolutely amazing. It was a blessing.
It's something that I want to ask you guys because we've in the last couple of years we've seen a resurgence of music from the '90s. I mentioned earlier talking to my daughter. She's like, "Oh, Mom, we don't have R&B music. I just listen to 112 or Jagged Edge, because that's what she grew up listening when I played for her." And so we have stations that are playing music from that era. The music is still very relevant, and it seems like people are really appreciating it because they don't see the same thing out now. Do you find that people are, being very receptive and wanting you guys to do, even before you came together for this album? Do you feel like people are really wanting more from 112 from the previous music?
Definitely, like 90s music, and I think that whole 90s era. Like when it comes to the music, people specifically say we miss 90s music, we want 90s music. If I'm on my Instagram right now, I know I'll see it. Meaning that they feel like if it's never like 90s music, I don't want it. So, people are specifically asking for 90s music. And with that indication, we're lucky. Because they're not asking for music from the 80s, they're not asking for music from the 60s or the 70s. They're specifically asking for the 90s sound, which we helped to pioneer. So, we're lucky in that sense. And there's definitely a desire for it. And I mean from all ages, no matter where we go. If you're 10, 12, 22, 33, 55, whatever your age is, they're specifically asking for that 90s sound. So that's all we have to do is just come back out and be ourselves.
You are lucky because while we do love 90s music, there are some groups that probably have not gotten a call. That people probably aren't, but you guys definitely are part of that 90s sound that you hear, you think of when you hear that. Now, in addition to, I mentioned Jagged Edge, we definitely are in Atlanta. Atlanta has, besides, Bad Boy and all that history, Atlanta has so much history musically here, with Jermaine Dupri, Jagged Edge, 112, all of these, huge groups that were here in Atlanta. That Atlanta had the ability to say we birthed that group. So what is being a part of this the Atlanta family, the Atlanta music family, meant to you guys?
It lets you know where it's at. It lets you know that no matter what else is going on everywhere else, that Atlanta is a force to be reckoned with. What's interesting about all the artists here in Atlanta, we all kind of started together. We were all competing in talent shows, and if you really know about the Atlanta scene, Sharon Showcase and other talent shows like that, we all were competing against each other. So to see each other reach success, it's a fraternity that we have, and no matter where we are, we will always support each other. You mentioned the 90s era. We're out on the road once or twice a week, performing with all these other groups, and it's not like we're just in the back waiting for our turn. We're all fans of each other. We support each other. We root for each other. We're on the sideline singing word for word because just as much as the fans are enjoying the performances, so are we. So to be in that group representing Atlanta to the fullest is something that we are all proud of, and we wear it. We wear it like nobody's business.
Atlanta can be a little cocky, but I think it's just a little bit. So you guys have another collaboration with Jagged Edge on the new album,
right? We do have another collaboration. This is history in the making as far as 112 is concerned, because again, there was some naysayers and there was some people that did not believe that this was something that could be achieved, and we just wanted to set out. I mean, it wasn't like our goal that like, let's just prove everybody wrong. It was more so like, hey, let's make a good record. And Jagged came to us with some ideas, and we floated some ideas at Jagged, and we just decided that this record was about time, and it was necessary because throughout the years, people were always wondering, like, do they really like each other? Do they get along? Can they coexist? Can they do a tour together? All of these things, and we just wanted to make, number one, we wanted to make a great record, but number two, just show everybody that it was just about the music, and we put aside. As you get older, you put aside your childish ways, and we just wanted the world to know that that music can supersede anything. At the end of the day, and we definitely are glad that Jagged saw it the way that we saw it, and the name of the record is called Both of Us, and we instead of it being Jagged's on this verse and 12 is on this verse, we're actually intertwined in each other's verses and stuff like that. So it's an awesome record. It's long overdue if you ask me, And I'm just really glad that everybody was on the same page and we were all able to come together, you know, and those alpha waves was just flowing at the right, you know, time, and we were just able to get the song done.
That's awesome. That's really dope because I'm sure people, those groups, you both have such signature sounds that nobody else sounds like Jagged Edge, nobody else sounds like 112. So that's enough for us to go get the album.
I know, right? Just so we know.
In itself, just to hear that, yeah.
Matter of fact, the whole album is just filled with 112 and Jagged. Go get it.
Let me ask you guys this. So coming from a time when, oh my God, the musicals landscape was so different. You know, you're doing an interview here. We got people on social media where they can actually see you and are listening. When you guys started, it was very different. You know, we didn't have social media to the same extent. You're in probably some Word Up magazines, you know, Right On magazines, yeah. But it definitely wasn't something where people could see you and take a picture and post it on Instagram and, you know, decide if they thought you were hot or not, you know what I mean? Or, you know, people knew about your families. Back then, we didn't know about your, you know, your home life, you know, who you were as a person outside of, you know, being in 112. So how do you feel with coming back out with music and starting this promo journey again? And it's got to be very, very different than it was when you guys started with Only
So much different, so much different. It was crazy because earlier today, here I was looking at MTV, YouTube, it was like on MTV, it was on Live. And it was like, if you got a chance to be on MTV and and you look at the camera saying, you think you know me, but you have no idea. Let me tell you something. That was one of the most pinnacle situations for artists, you know what I mean? Because actually, we wanted you all to be in our world. We didn't want y'all to just look at us in the magazine and just be like, oh yeah, I like this show. Okay, cool. No. We actually wanted you to understand what we were going through, what consists of why you love us, you know what I mean? So, coming back out after 12 years, you know, together, you know, to me, it's even more surreal because when I dropped So Far, I sat in front of a table with a whole bunch of people that were now known as LinkedIn and Twitter and all this stuff, and, you know, I was like, so who is going to help me? You know, but this right here is amazing. So right now, to just fathom that everybody around the world can listen to me and agree with me at one time, like, hey, these cats got it, you know what I mean? These cats all right, you know what I mean? It's absolutely amazing, and it definitely helps us with, you know, not just, you know, trying to just being satisfied our own age, you know what I mean? And it gives a chance for all the younger people out there, younger fans, future fans, to appreciate what R&B is, let them know what our 90s, the feel, and the culture, and what we stood for, and how it felt, and how it sounded. And this is a great example of this, so I love this platform.
I'm going to ask one more question, and I'm going to open it up to the audience because we know each of you can glow and have their own style. We see everybody's kind of individual style peeking through the group unity here. In your own individual goals, you guys have done release projects and probably toured and all types of things. How has that made you appreciate being together again more, or has it made you appreciate being together again more?
Definitely, it has made us appreciate being together more. I can say, like, you know, getting out there, experiencing things as a solo artist and just growing as a solo artist, I think it helps me to be a better member of 112. It makes me more accountable to myself as an individual. Like, when you're in a group, a lot of times, it's easy to get lazy because you know you got this person right here, you know you got this person right here, you know you got that person right there. But when you get out there on your own, it kind of makes you more accountable for everything that goes along with just being, you know, the best version of yourself that you can be, and then bringing that best version of yourself into the collective group, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's how it has helped me, you know what I'm saying? When I tell you, I mean, that was an amazing run. The summer situation was amazing. Thank you for supporting that whole situation, but I'm talking to everybody. And that was an amazing to have a top 5 record, you know what I mean, outside of what was going on. Keeping it all the way real with these brothers sitting right there. I don't want to do that, and I don't want to do that no more. You know what I'm saying? It was fun, though, you know what I'm saying? And it's exactly what Deron said, you know. You don't know. I remember the first time I performed, and like for the first time, it was like, oh man, those three boys that I always really felt comfortable with, they're not there. So, hey, now this is all you. You know what I mean? And no pressure. The legacy is riding on you. You know what I'm saying? So it's very personal on my end. You know what I'm saying? I should have great success. You know what I'm saying? Have a goal album. You know what I mean? And that's the main reason why I kept Slim of 112 on that. Because with us, it's more than just a group. It's more like a family, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like a brother with the same last name. You know, if you ever knew those Notorious Brothers, and they just called their last name, and you know, you're like, oh boy. You know what they're coming in. That's exactly how I feel. So, you know, I really appreciate it.
How can I say this? You gain a much better appreciation of what you have once you venture out, and the grass ain't always green on that other side, if you know what I mean. While we all have the ability to sing solo, in my mind, 112 still had meat left on the bone, if you will. You know, we still had things to accomplish as far as the group. And my philosophy always was why not be one of the most amazing R&B groups that did it, as opposed to being an okay solo artist or being the pantheon of the, you know, of the greats or whatever. That's cool and everything, but we already know who our greats are. It's Stevie, it's Marvin, you know, it's Donnie, it's like that pantheon is already there, and we had already established ourselves as being you guys' new addition. You know, in our minds, we felt like we were you guys' you know, Four Tops, the Temptations. We felt like we were bringing, you know, but we still had, you know, some more work to do, you know, because there was still some people that didn't really believe. And these guys know me, and if anybody knows me, they know that, you know, you tell me I can't do something, oh my God, like now we got to do it 3 times as hard. You know what I mean? Because and that was my goal with, you know, with 112 was always to leave this lasting legacy that my kids can go back and say, you know what, the guy was all right, you know, when it came to the music. And it was just an amazing ride. Am I glad that I jumped out and did the solo? Absolutely, because as a man, you just, you know, I've known these guys 30 years, known all of them 30 years, and we eat together. You know, I know it sounds funny. We slept together. That's funny. But the overall, you know, we just did things like brothers, and we wanted to see what I wanted to see what I could do, you know, by myself. You know what I mean? And so going out there, and I realized that, yeah, it's cool, it's nice, but I was at home, you know what I mean, with these 3 other guys and stuff. So that was, you know, I appreciate the experience because it made me a better group member. And have a greater appreciation for the accomplishment that these 3 other guys have, because like Deron Anselm said, it's hard out there doing that solo thing by yourself. Just vocally, it's just, you know, anybody knows me, like I sing hard, like I have one switch, it's on or off, you know, and I go. You know what I mean? So it just imagine me doing a whole album of me hollering like that, man. I can't. I can't holler like that, man. The entire album. So it was just I would much rather our legacy be the greatest, one of the greatest R&B groups that ever did it, as opposed to me going out being, you know, an okay solo artist.
Dorothy said it best. NoPlace.com.